Yo, what's good, guys? Another video here. Today we got the one and only the Dude Says Things with Stella and Rocco in the background, watching Americans living abroad. First time you realized America really messed you up. Part 2. Let's get to it. Last time I enjoyed the video, brought a lot of good points. Had a huge ass debate in the comments, which is cool. Most of y'all were actually really cool about it, so I like that. So let's talk about it. Let's get to it. Let's watch it.
What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
It's not current, but when I was studying in the UK, one day I really needed to see a doctor. But I didn't know how to access care. I didn't know what my insurance situation was like, so I just went to work. And eventually I was in so much pain that I burst into tears, and my boss pulled me aside. And he was like, "What's up?" And I was like, "I really need to see a doctor, but I don't know how to access care here. I don't know if I can afford it." And he was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Go down the street to the hospital." And I argued with him, and he was like, "No, just trust me, just go to the hospital." So I went, and I was like clutching my student ID in my hand, my passport, and I was like trying to remember how much I had in my bank account, like checking. And I got called back to the doctor. He was like, "Yep, this is what's wrong with you. Pick up your prescription on the way out." And I was like, "I'm sorry, do you know how much it's gonna be?" And he said, "I don't know, maybe 8 pounds." I was like, "I'm sorry, 8?" He was like, "Yeah, I don't think it's ever more than that." The receptionist kept laughing at me because I didn't feel comfortable leaving without paying somebody, and I kept asking and asking if I owed anybody any money.
It's funny, but it's sad. Yeah, honestly, for me personally, that's like the number one thing that America needs to fix right there. That's at least for me. Don't get me wrong, there's other shit too, but for me, that's numero uno. That is number one right there. Yeah, that sucks. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of that in this compilation talking about that, but yeah.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize?
I am back for round 2 on this one.
What's up?
So I just moved to Italy with my boyfriend who is Italian.
Cool.
We're watching a movie the other day where somebody is running away and they get shot.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, you know what? That's their fault. They didn't run in a zigzag. That's like the first thing you do to run in a zigzag if somebody's pointing a gun at you. He pauses the movie. And he looks at me and he goes, "Who taught you that?" And I'm like, teachers, adults, parents, they teach you when you're young to run in a zigzag if somebody is pointing a gun at you. The sinking feeling I had when I realized that nobody ever had to teach him that when he was young. Because that's not a problem here.
I've never heard that, actually. I've actually never heard... It makes sense, but I've never... What I always was told is knife. Like, when someone has a knife, you run. Gun, you want to charge. Because you want to try to close the distance and gain control. That's what I always heard, personally. I've never been in a situation where anybody was trying to shoot me. So, I've been in a situation where a motherfucker tried to come at me with a machete, which is a crazy-ass story. But, yeah, I've never... So, I don't know. I have no idea.
And currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Oh, I've got a couple. So I'm from Los Angeles and now I live in Austria. And basically when I first started working here, they were like, you get 25 days vacation, Fridays off early, and if you're sick, don't come into work. And I was just like, I was floored. Because in the US, you only get 10 days vacation and 5 sick days, and you don't get Fridays off early. You better work your ass until it's 9 p.m. On top of all of that, all my friends here have 2 masters, 3 PhDs, etc., 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 because education here is actually free. Amazing. What an amazing concept. In addition, I have yet to see a large homeless community out in the open here in Austria because the government actually offers some social support. A lot of social support.
Lit.
In LA, you have villages, streets, blocks full of homeless people because our government doesn't care about us.
That's actually a real thing, too. They got, full-blown tent cities. It's actually, it's crazy. It's not just in LA. I feel like it's in most of the major cities. But, yeah, it is actually crazy whenever you see it. It's fucked.
A lot of social support. In LA, you have villages, streets, blocks full of homeless people because our government doesn't care about us. And here people like don't measure their worth off the car they drive.
What is one time that made you realize that
That's kind of true. Let's be honest. My fellow Americans, let's be honest, yo. People here do like they definitely think like material possessions make them. I feel like I know so many people whose like biggest flex is the car they drive, or who the fuck knows. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love cars, right? Like I don't have as much knowledge as I'd like about cars. Like, I'd like to learn more about how cars work. But yeah, I don't like. Yeah, there's a lot of people like that who just. Yeah.
America really messed you up?
So I'm from LA and I moved to Singapore. And before coming here, I asked all my friends if I should bring anything like, a pepper spray just in case anything happens. And they were like, no, that's like actually illegal. I don't think that they're allowed to have any kind of weapon. And
no weapon.
I was like, what? We literally put them in our keychains as accessories. I was like, how do you defend yourself? They were like, from what? You don't have to. It's so safe. I was like, no way. So I Googled it, and no one is allowed to use greater force than necessary to defend themselves. What? The US can't ban guns, but Singapore can ban pepper sprays?
We doing this again? Last time, all the comments. I want the comments to be something other than guns in this fucking video. But, no, bro. The reason for that is Singapore and the US are completely different countries. It's not comparable. Like, but like, no weapons at all? That's crazy. Like, even guns, even though, like, I don't agree with the idea of banning guns. Gun control is a different thing. Like, I agree with that. But banning guns, I don't. Y'all done? I'm just gonna leave that in. Shout out to the puppies. But, like, I don't even want to make this a whole debate, okay? Because the first video, I want to talk about, like, the differences between the countries. And, like, I want y'all to, like, fill me in. So I don't even want to have this whole debate again. But, like, that is, to me, that's crazy that you can't even have pepper spray. Like, not even, again, like, I wouldn't even be worried about pepper sprays even for people. Like, what if fucking some crazy animals are loose, or, like, a fucking psychotic-ass dog or some shit? Like, not even about, you can't have pepper spray at all for nothing? That's crazy.
Rod, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up? I'll go.
When I had my first child, we were stationed overseas in Germany, and at that point I'd been a nurse for about 5 years, and I had a C-section. So day 3, after I delivered, I was packing up my stuff and getting the baby ready to go home, and the German nurse walked in and looked at me and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm packing to go home." And she said, "Nein, you're not going home. You just had major surgery. We have physical therapy coming to see you. And dinner is on its way up. And if you'd like, I can call down and have them bring up some beer. But you need to rest."
I like, yo, Germany, I like your style. Give birth instantly. Like, how about a beer, bro? Like, you just gave birth to a kid. Have a beer. I like that. I like y'all style.
And I thought, yeah, I did have major surgery. I do need to rest. And they kept me for another week until I was ready to go home and I could take care of everything on my own.
Seriously though, shout out to Germany for that. Like, that's, again, for me, that's the number one thing. Like, I think number one was the medical shit here, because it's just garbage. Like, honestly, fuck. We just need to, like, completely write off the system we have. Start from fresh. Like, that's garbage. Number 2, probably education. For me, like, yeah, the education here sucks ass. Like, I guarantee you that actually, it's not even a guarantee. I just know most countries just have better education. It's just facts. Like, it is what it is, and that sucks too. That's like, yeah. So
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up? I'll go first.
I live in Warsaw, Poland now, but I always stay in touch with what's happening in the US, and I happened to hear about that Las Vegas shooting when someone opened fire on a bunch of concert goers. And it was very tragic news, but that day I also went to the movies, so I was already in a kind of weird mental state. And when I left the movies, I got on the tram again in Warsaw, and I saw this guy kind of being sketchy and acting weird in the last seat. And I kept eyeing him the whole time, and he had his jacket open and he was holding something inside. He was hiding it. And I thought, my first American thought was it's a gun or a knife or some kind of weapon, and I need to move away as soon as possible. So I kept looking at him the whole ride, and then he takes it out, and it was a beer can. He was sipping it and hiding it during the tram ride. That's what happens in Poland. Not guns, not knives. And I started crying and laughing.
That happens in America too, yo. That happens. Like, don't pretend like there's not motherfuckers out here hiding their beers, trying to sip on their. Actually, that's, to be fair, in America they probably just don't care for them. At least I don't know. Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, like even though I'm 19, I'm gonna be on. I can walk around with a beer. Nobody's like really paying attention. Now, some of my friends who look younger, they can't get away with it, but personally, I could get away with that. But yeah. But yeah, again, the guns thing, we talked about that in the first one. I want to talk about other stuff. I just want y'all to tell me about other stuff and, fill me in on some other things, maybe some experiences you guys have had that made you realize America's messed up. That's what I want to hear on this comment section. I want to have that conversation. If y'all want to talk about guns, go to the first one. We can talk about it there.
At the same time, because that's when I realized, wow, that's messed up.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
So I can make like 200 of these, but I'll just talk about the first time I realized how fucked up the U.S. is, which was in the first week that I got to Sweden, when my boyfriend's family told me that I need to make sure I get insured, and that I get insurance for everything I own, my laptop, my bike, my apartment, my whole body.
Right.
And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. That's so expensive. Like, I'm already super in debt with student loans, so no. But I asked out of curiosity just like how much it was going to cost. $100 a year to insure everything I have.
What?
For reference, like the average American person spends $456 a month.
Yeah.
Just on health insurance. Just for healthcare.
That's probably like one person too. That's not even including like a family.
So.
Is that real? Is that legit? $100 a month. Okay, number 3, we need to fix this goddamn insurance. But, like, listen, y'all see me smiling because, like, I want to have a good time and laugh and shit. But, like, seriously, like, on a serious note, like, when I hear about this shit, I do kind of get, like, what the fuck? Like, like, I get annoyed. But, like, I'd just rather laugh about it and, crack jokes and have fun with you guys than, like, have y'all see me really get angry and pissed off. But, like, actually, that's insane. $100. See, it's like, this is my question, though. Now that I'm really thinking about it, is like, is it even possible, like, for America to get like this? Because the facts are, America is so different than pretty much every country out there, it seems like, to my very unknown fucking knowledge of other countries. But, like, I almost wonder if, like, Americans are too self-centered to do that kind of shit. And myself included, like, I'll be honest, I'm a pretty nice guy most of the time, but, like, yeah, I'm kind of like that too, in a way, where it's like, if it's helped me or help someone else, I'm gonna help me first, then you. Like, that might be fucked up, but it's true. So it just makes me think, like, I wonder if Americans are almost too focused on helping themselves get ahead to even consider doing this kind of stuff. Sorry for the cut. Nice ass bike just drove by and I got distracted, but yeah, man, like, it just, I don't know, it just makes me think, like, that's kind of one of the, I don't know. I hope so, though. Like, genuinely, I hope so. I hope I'm wrong about that.
Just for healthcare. That doesn't include cars or home insurance. So.
American currently living abroad, what is legit. One time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
So I live in Paris, and 2 months ago I got hit by a taxi relatively hard. I fell down in the street. All these people came and they picked me up. They brought me over to a bench. Someone from a restaurant brought me a glass of water. Another woman gave me a handful of coins. And I was like, I don't need your money. It's okay. And she was like, sweetheart, this is your money. It fell out of your pockets when you got hit by the taxi.
Yo, afterthought while I'm watching this video, future me here. In America, low key, I wouldn't be surprised if people walked off with that money. That's kind of... I just thought about that. Afterthought. I'm rewatching it and watching my reaction at the same time. Yeah. So, future me out.
And I was like, Sonic the Hedgehog vibes. Great. The man who hits me goes to call the ambulance. And I said, stop. Do not call the ambulance. That will cost me $3,000 to $5,000 because that's what an ambulance costs in America. And he was like, what are you talking about? An ambulance is €7. I was like, oh my God, remind me to twist my ankle on the way home from the club, and they'll give me an IV so I won't be hungover the next day? Catch me at the hospital. This is late.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
So my first year here in Paris, I was an au pair, and I got really sick during the winter. It was bronchitis, and I couldn't breathe. I was coughing a lot. I was trying to avoid going to the emergency room as much as possible because in the US it's very, very expensive. But there was one night where I really couldn't hold out any longer. So I drove to the emergency room. And when I was there, they gave me a nebulizer. And then they wanted to give me chest x-rays. And I was like, listen, can we please not do the chest x-rays? I'm fine, let's just go. And the doctor looked at me and she was like, why don't you want to do these? You have to do them, you could have damage. And I said, well, I don't have any money, I'm not gonna be able to afford it. And she looked at me and she was like, it's covered with Social Security. So I was like, oh, okay. And then instead of having to book a whole another appointment and wait forever for the results, we walked down the hall, we took the chest x-rays, I had the results in 5 minutes. I paid €12 and then I was reimbursed 3 days later.
That's insane. Not only you only have to pay $12, but you got your money back. Shout out to people in Paris, bro. Shout out to the French. Big up. But like, you know what I just realized? Like, recently, I was sick. Found out, even though I didn't know it at the time, I didn't think it. But turns out I did have COVID because the person I know who gave it to me got tested, and turns out that it was COVID. Yet, like, going to the hospital didn't even cross my mind because, like, same thing that lady said. Like, I'm not trying to spend all this money just because what I thought I had was just a really bad cold. Future me back. Let me know if you like future me. Calling myself out on some bullshit. I'm also just a wimp and don't like hospitals because I'm scared of them. Yeah, kind of true. Like, hell no. Which, luckily, I know now that COVID really doesn't mess with me too much, you know, compared to other people. So, I'm fine, but it just makes me think, like, I wonder how many people out here has died because stuff like that, you know? Like, that's what I was thinking while that was playing, but it's... Yeah.
You're currently living abroad. What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
So I started my new job in the Netherlands. This was 3 years ago, and I was going through the company policy the first week. And I got to the section about leave, and they have a holiday leave, like PTO, and then they had sick leave in 2 different areas. And I was reading about sick leave, and I turned to my coworker, and I was like, I don't understand. Like, it talks about, like, the requirements for sick leave and, like, doctor notes, like, after 3 days, but how many sick days do we get a year? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, how many are there? It doesn't say. She's like, it's just, if you're sick, you're out. I'm like, I don't understand. She's like, it's unlimited. It's just, if you're sick, you take a sick day. She was confused. I was shocked. There's a moment I realized we're fucked up in America and how we deal with people being sick with work.
Like, actually, like, to me, that's like the dumbest shit. Like, genuinely. Like, it's not like, say, for example, when it turns out I had COVID, it's not like I could be like, all right, man, my days are up. COVID, you gotta go, bro. Like, see ya, COVID. Like, it don't work like that, man. Like, it just... Now, you can get, like, a doctor's note that will, like, make you be able to stay gone from work for as long as you need if you can get a doctor's note from... Like, they really can't do much about that. But, like... It is stupid. Like, that is, yeah, that's dumb.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
Yeah, so this one hit me pretty hard. It was one of the first dates I ever had in Germany with my boyfriend, and he wanted to take me on a nature walk. Well, it was a beautiful day, and we went on this beautiful trail, but it ended out leading up to somebody's field, like a farmer's field, and I absolutely wanted nothing to do with that. I said, nope, that's it, we're going home, I'm not doing that, and he kind of was persistent and saying, like, why? And I was like, are you crazy? They're gonna shoot us. I was pretty new to Germany, so I didn't really understand how things worked yet. But I did grow up in rural western New York, where if you trespass on somebody's property, their woods or their field, there's a good chance that you'd be shot and killed. My next door neighbors would get blackout drunk and then start shooting off their back porch into the random wilderness. And he stopped me and said, nobody shoots trespassers here, why would they do that? Even if they're trespassing, like, that's so overdramatic. And it hit me how normalized that was for me growing up, that I could potentially die going for a walk.
Currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Here's a fun one. So I'm teaching 3rd grade in Thailand, right? And it's sports day. Kids running around, screaming, having fun, as kids do. Right. And I hear a bang. Instantly, my heart drops into my stomach. My entire body tenses. My adrenaline starts pumping. And I'm looking around for the shooter. And then I realize I'm in Thailand. And people don't have guns. And they don't shoot children at their school. It was a balloon. A balloon popped. Fuck you, America.
Bruh, imagine that. Air balloon pop. Oh shit! Gotta. That's a. Oh wait. It is sad that people are so scared of that shit. Like, it shouldn't be in it. Like, it really shouldn't be a thing. Like, fuck it. Well, I'll say this though, even though I really want to have these comments more telling me about like things that y'all realize about America that's messed up, and instead of just strictly the guns, because I want to hear about more than that. But I'll say this, I think the issue is the people. Like, that is the issue. Why do these people want to shoot up the school? That, like, we need to solve that. Like, even if we could get all the guns out of America, that's just putting a Band-Aid on the issue. Like, you're not treating the wound. The wound is, why do all these people want to shoot these kids? To me, that's what bothers me more than the gun, is why do they have that intent? That's what needs to be fixed. To my opinion. Again, I really don't want to have shit filled up with guns like the last video. If you want to talk to me about guns, talk to me on that video. I want to see, like, other people's opinions on other things that make America messed up, because I actually really enjoy those conversations. So, and just even the info. So, yeah.
Currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
So I grew up in southern Indiana.
Not so far from me.
To London, England. So I just moved to England, and I made a lot of new friends. So I go to a party, this was like 3 years ago. And let's say one of my friends he drank too much water. And all my friends were taking care of him, including myself. And all of a sudden, one of them goes, "Hey, we gotta call an ambulance." And I was like, "No, dude, like, do you know how much money that costs? Like, he just drank too much water, he's gonna be fine." And right when I said that, everyone looked at me and said, "Mate, what are you talking about?" And I was like, "Dude, the ambulance is gonna cost like $3,000. And that was the moment I realized that England had free healthcare.
Currently living abroad, what is one time...
I always think it's funny when the people try to, like, mock the accent. Like, it's like, "Mate, what are you talking about, mate? The healthcare is free, you fucking numbnuts, boy, you fucking prick, huh?" I don't know, I just think it's funny.
That made you realize that America really messed you up.
Hi. So I've been living in Spain for about 11 years, and this happened like 11 years ago.
Okay.
It was my first time going to the emergency room, and when, stomach problems, whatever, couldn't stop throwing up. Mm-hmm. And I go in, give the girl at the front desk my ID and my debit card. And she takes my ID, checks me in, hands both cards back to me. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I give the debit card, I pay at the end. So I go in, everything, give me medicine, and I go back out. I stop at the front desk again, and I was like, "Hi, I'm leaving. Here's my debit card." And she just looks at me and she's like, "I don't know why you keep giving this to me. You don't need to give me your debit card. I don't get it."
That's funny.
And I'm like, "Oh, you don't have to pay for health services, even in a private hospital."
Tell me you've been single a long time without...
The funny thing, too, well, I shouldn't say it's funny, it's just a fucked up thing, is like, sorry for the cut, got distracted by my dog because she's fucking crazy over there. But like, anyway, the crazy thing to add to that is like, in America, the private hospitals are most of the time the cheaper option. Like, genuinely. That's, like, wouldn't you think, if anything, the private hospitals would be more expensive than, like, the corporate big hospitals that get all the funding and whatever? No, it's the private hospitals that are actually cheaper half the time, which is, yeah. Little info for you. Either way, give me a fat ass like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, all that fun stuff. Let me know what else you want me to watch, any other videos, whatever. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. I want you to let me know, what is the first time, though, you realized that America was messed up? Whether it's, you know, whether you're American, whether you've just learned something about America, something that wasn't mentioned in this video. I want to hear what you guys have to say about that. Like, that makes me really curious to read the comments and see what people say. So, yeah. Either way, we're out. Bye.